up here or in the audience? If not, I want to ask Ms. Gilbert, would you lead us in prayer?
Sure. Father God, in the name of Jesus, we come this evening just thanking you, Father God. We just ask that this business be handled in the way that you would have it to be handled. In Jesus' name we do pray, amen.
Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Okay, call for order. Go ahead and call roll call. Mr. Lauder? Here. Ms. Phillips? Here. Mr. Satterwhite? Mr. Sterling? Ms. Dixon? Here. Ms. Lowe? Here. Thank you. I want to ask and see if there's any additional or corrections to the minutes from January 22nd, 2024. You said first page? First page.
What will the 29,000 be used for if the students aren't being paid for that?
You say if the students are getting paid for that?
If they're not getting paid out of the 29,000.
They're getting paid out. Some of that is going towards students, and then some of that is being raised. And so, I don't have the budget right in front of me, but I believe that there's like there might be 7,000 or so that's going towards, students. It may be a little bit more, but I'm not quite sure, but a portion of that is being paid for, staff salaries or staff stipends that we're having, to do different things for that, along with, I wanna say students pay, there's some other things in there. I don't know, I can share it all with you, but a portion of that is students pay.
Well, the next to the last sentence says that, Ms. Dixon asked you how much had been approved and the mayor responded 29,000. And that did not include the 250 per student.
A portion of that did include that for students.
Well, that needs to be changed.
Okay.
It said it did not include. the
Yeah, a
250.
portion of that does include students, pay.
And while we're on that right now, do you have a list of the businesses? I'd kind of like have a copy of the businesses that's going to participate.
I don't have it with me, but I can share them with you.
Okay,
Yeah.
I mean,
And
yeah,
then, and some of, yeah, I can share that with you.
anytime.
Because some of those businesses are still being reached out.
Oh,
as
yeah,
well.
I understand that. But there might be one that's not on there that somebody might call and kind of.
Yeah, and we can definitely share that with you. Some of the other things, we are gonna have a meeting, I believe it's going to be, I think it's Thursday. And so you guys are more than welcome to attend, but that meeting, students will be matched up based on their interest.
Okay.
So depending on where the student interest lies, those are the types of businesses that we're reaching out to.
Do you know how many businesses right now that's participating?
Let me see. I know I got at least 4 that I know of, but I believe that we have like 20 students, and we're matching each one of those students up with one person. So all of them are not necessarily businesses, they're individuals who are actually in the field. So if we have students who are interested in being a nurse, then we try to match them up with a nurse that may be in the community or.
Like home,
that may
have
be-
someone that goes,
Some of the kids have, said like a LPN or
Oh, yeah.
ultrasound, I think technician, some said welding. And so based on those things is how we're reaching out to individuals. And then we're reaching out to businesses to see if they will help match funds so that we can pay those students. We would like to pay them $250 a month for their participation in their mentoring as well as with their participation in the other activities that they're doing.
and how long will this?
It goes through the summer.
So you're wanting a business to donate 250 plus this 250 from the grant, is that right?
We have funding from the grant, but we would like businesses to donate so that we can the funding doesn't cover for those kids to have $250 for the duration of the grant. So we have to raise some of those funds, and so that's where I've asked and reached out to local businesses, banks, and ask them would they be willing to sponsor a student or to sponsor a month of stipends.
And this grant will go through the city.
The grant is already in the
grant will
city.
go through the city.
Yes,
Well, I see we've got to set up an account for that.
yes.
So how many hours will they work a week?
That's a great question. Let me see. I think it averages out to about 12 or 15 hours. Well, it's like, I can't remember. What was it? Dunn, you can help me with that.
Well,
I'm trying to remember all the
Well-
what was it, 5 hours a
right, it depends on if they're with their mentor, or if they're with the coach, or they're with the counseling session. It depends on how they allocate their hours. But it has to come up with 20 hours per
So
month.
roughly 20 hours a month?
Yeah.
I think it's roughly like 20 hours a month. But then they have it allocated throughout, so they have so much they have to do for community service, so much they have to do for, face-to-face, where they have to meet with their coach, and then so much they have to meet with their mentor. Because some of our kids said they wanted to be NFL players. Some said they wanted to be NBA players. Well, I mean, and that may be realistic for some, but at the same time, we don't want to stifle that piece, so we've reached out to former NBA players, former NFL players, so that they can have that conversation with those individuals and mentor them to let them know that they had to go to college for something else. Like, you don't go to college to be an NBA player or NFL player. You go to college and maybe be an engineer, or you go to college to be physical education, or so we try to match those students up that way. And so their time with that individual, some may be working, but some may be doing the face-to-face mentorship on Zoom or in person. But if you want to know more details of it, we are having a meeting with the 20 students this week, and I believe it's Thursday, 5:30, 6 o'clock.
Where are you meeting?
Here at City Hall.
I wonder where your meeting dates would be. So this program will be at the city hall.
The meeting will be here at
The
the City
meeting,
Hall.
but I mean, okay.
Yeah, depending on what we're doing with those students that we might need computers. So if we need computers, we have to go to school and have our meeting, because they're gonna be doing resume writing. They're gonna be, doing some things with cover letters. And so with that, they need to have access to computers. So the school is one of our partners in this. And so that's the thing that they provide, because every last one of the kids got access to computers there.
One was on under new business, was that Mr. Potter stated he thought the mayor would appoint the committee to the non-voting advisory committee under Act 605. And I was just wondering if you could check on that to see if the mayor would appoint the committee.
Yeah, I think I sent that over to you so you can look into it with more details. If you have any updated information.
If we could revisit it, I've just gotta look up, in my email, did we come back to it?
Yeah. And what I would like to do, since Mr. Salawat is over that area, and then Jamie's over that area, I would like for them to have more input in who they would like to see to be on those, committees, or people who have had interest. So I don't wanna just be the one to kind of dictate or steer, say this person's gonna be on there. I wanna open it up to the community, and then I also want those department heads and the individuals on the council that are responsible for those areas to have more input in that. All right, thank you.
I don't have anything else.
So besides that correction in the minutes, anyone want to make a motion to accept the minutes with the correction that Councilman Phillips recommended?
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes with the corrections.
Okay. And there's a second, all in favor? Let's just go ahead and do the roll call.
Ms. Homewater,
Yes.
Ms. Phillips,
Yes.
Mr. Satterwhite, Ms. Dixon,
Yes.
Ms. Lowe.
Yes.
Okay, I'm looking at the, is there any questions on the financials for December 2023 and January 2024?
I do on January.
In January, okay?
Page 4, health and sanitation.
Email you these, because there are so many of them, I'll let you on your desk.
I don't have it, so.
But you can look at mine with me, what are we looking at, Joanne?
Vehicle repair, that was 3571.
Which one now? Okay.
Was the trash truck worked on, Jamie?
Yeah, it was. Well, we got that one bill when she come by that she said she'd forgotten to seal, and then we had gotta have a radiator put on it. And,
Yeah. That was for the trash truck,
yeah, but there was one of the bills was, one that she never emailed, so she brought it, I think it was at the
Yeah, I remember that
first
now.
of December or something.
And then, page 6, the water and sewer. What was the maintenance and repair of the 22,000? Was that the,
That was
when they
so-
cleaned the?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, that was for cleaning of the,
Any other questions about the financials? If there's no other questions, does anyone want to make a motion about the financials?
Make a motion that we, approve the financials for December of 23 and January 24.
Second.
Okay, there's been a motion and a second. All in favor, and we'll go by roll call.
Ms. Hobart,
Yes.
Ms. Phillips, Mr. Satterwhite, Ms. Dixon,
Yes.
and Ms. Lowe.
Yes.
Okay, the next item on the agenda is to, accept the bill, so we can make a motion to pay our bills.
I'll make a motion that we pay the bills.
Okay, there's a motion, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor by roll call.
Ms. Hobart,
Yes.
Ms. Phillips, Mr. Satterwhite, Ms. Dixon,
Yes.
Ms. Lowe.
Yes.
Next, we're gonna do committee reports, and so I wanna go ahead and start off with Councilman Dixon with tourism and development.
Okay. Over my low part, the 2 benches have been placed by the Rotary, this past week. I went and visited the, Lizzie Jones Park, because someone had mentioned,
Ms. Pearl
Ms.
mentioned.
Pearl had mentioned, you know, some, problems down there. It, of course, needs raking, so that's a good community service job. A lot of kids are looking for community service, that would be a really good job. She mentioned to me about the walkway, having some problems, and I walked all the way around it, and it has buckled up. I don't know what you do about that, you can't help that, that's from trees growing underneath.
You said, is it the trailway that's
Yes,
bumping up?
yes, but I mean, you've got trees, roots, you can't, that's things that we can't help. But actually, it was in pretty good shape, other than really needing some attention of just cleaning up, but it's the beginning of mowing season also. There was one, picnic table that needs to be moved back, that's been moved away. The basketball goal the net was loose, but it was okay for the kids to be able to play ball.
What about the fence? Was the fence in good shape around the
I don't even know that I paid attention to the fence.
They had several years ago, I didn't know they had a problem with the fence. Yeah.
But really, it just needs a good breaking and cleaning up, and as many kids that's needing hours at school for graduation and putting in hours, that would be a very big project. Not just there, that could be anywhere. Trash pickup
Yeah,
and,
we were doing on that highway.
That's
between
right.
that, right outside the school,
that's right.
going towards that.
So there, like I said, there shouldn't be a problem of finding hours to get done in the community for sure.
Right, thank you so much.
Mhm.
Councilman Salloway for water and sewer.
There was 5 leaks, 2 on Spruce Street, Vine Street, Water Street, and Ellis.
That's it?
Mm-hmm.
Alright. Councilman Sterling is not here for street and sanitation. Jamie, you wanna give us a update or report?
We took care of, West Street this morning. We messaged me about,
Oh, yeah.
it's been all day down there on it, got it taken care of.
What was going on down there?
That road is just, there's not much of a road left as far as asphalt down there, and it has been in years. But with all that rain, what was there and where the hose was attached, that washed out. And, right now we can't get cold mix, or I had to call to see if we could get cold mix. We finished using what we had, and also when they done the overlay, back there in the summer, they road meal, part of the road up, we used some of that. Cause I kept that, I had them deliver it to us on the yard. But other than that, it's just, there's not asphalt on that road much anymore. It's almost gravel road.
Gotcha.
And it's just a little, it's a loop, and there's 2 people that live there on that loop. But I never even tried, I hadn't been down the road so long that I couldn't tell you, cause I don't have to drive it when I read meters anymore. But, it did need some attention. We gotta take care of it. She told us she appreciated it this morning. So I talked to her before I left.
Alright, I appreciate it, thank you. Councilman Hobart?
Oh, yes,
Public safety.
yes. The tickets that were written this past month was the county and state police was 34. Our city police was 0, and there was 12 warrants served on from the city, and they were failure to appear warrants that from the other.
You said there was 12 warrants served from the city?
Well, yes, that was in the city docket, and they were like failure to appear. They were all failure to appear.
Gotcha.
And, there wasn't very, as far as I could tell, the revenue that was deposited in or transferred to general from fines was, 1 month was $1,095, and then 1 month was $2,035.
Do you know which
One
which ones?
December and 1 January.
Okay, thank you. I was about to say which one was.
Yes.
We also have Ms. Brenda here, so, I know that there was a lot of questions. We're gonna do an update for the amnesty program, but I know that there was a lot of questions around, tickets and where does, more or less like where, how much are those tickets, how much police department to really talk about that a little bit more, and I think all of you guys have been provided with, information about that. And so first, I'll go ahead and say, with the amnesty program that's going on right now, we have roughly about 26 people who inquired about the program. We have 6 people who have actually paid. The total amount owed was $3,135. There was some adjustments of like $940, and so the total amount that was actually paid was $2,195 so far. So that's what we have there. And then, Ms. Brenda, could you come up?
Can
And
I just sit here and tell you, I can talk loud enough.
what happens is that they don't always kind of get it on because we're recording. So we just kind of want to make sure that that they can hear you. with what you're providing. So if you could just go by Ms. Hobart, that would be great. And you look so lovely, so.
No, I don't like sounds. The mayor had asked me for a rundown on some of the tickets and where they went and what have you. And I'm just gonna give you a couple examples. Jake, you help me if I mess up.
Sure.
On a speeding ticket, the cost is $205. I'm gonna go to the ticket is, but I'm gonna go to the cost in a minute. But the PD equipment gets $10 of that. Our city jail fee, which is where we pay the jail bill out of, gets $20. The county gets $20. There was an ordinance that they got $20 for every ticket written, so we had to put that in there. And then the fine goes in general. Now, the cost is $75 on one of those tickets, which I have, that it goes, anything over the amount that I am supposed to put in these accounts down here at the bottom, or goes to the state. If I don't have it, you know, if I have $100 more than what they're allowing, which is $1,621.14 a month for us to keep, it goes to the state. If it's short, then the state gets nothing, and I give checks to Annette for the law fee, municipal court fund, administration of justice, BWI, city share, city attorney's fee, alcohol treatment program. That's something that they give me the price that I can keep per month. The county gets some for the law library, some for the jail revenue bond, and the indigent defendant's fee. And all of that has come out of, on the bottom there, come out of the cost. And as you can see over here on the side, on the right side, there's like the possession of a controlled substance. Other than, you know, how all of that goes, the cost is $100. So, you know, and then we have a drug assessment fee that the state charges. Seems like that's all on that one. Domestic battery, there's two funds that it comes out, domestic violence peace fund and domestic violence shelter fund, plus the ones that I've said. And over here on the very right, it shows you like the state, that's what the state charges, that's what the city gets, and that's what the county gets. That is, in a perfect world, if the ticket's paid. Does that make sense? Okay. But this down here at the bottom, last year, I was short all but 3 months. I gave Annette what I could give to help with this, but then whatever, I don't know how Annette does it. If I don't give you enough for, say, the law fee, do you just not pay that, or do you have to take it out of somewhere else?
We have an overage in the law fee account.
Okay.
So, the law fee, what we owe law fee every month is different depending on the police hours and how many fire department calls were paid for. But fire department pays into law fee too, so I'm not ever short for law fee.
Anybody have any questions about how much the city actually gets off of each one of those tickets? Or even how much actually goes back to the police department? Because it looks like, is that an ordinance that was put in place for the PD equipment? So that's why it's $10 for every ticket that's broke that goes back to equipment?
The equipment fund, they help for repairs.
Okay, you already had mentioned the ordinance for the county, so every ticket that we write, $20 goes to the counties. And then it looks like general, that number kind of varies depending on the fine.
Right.
But an average ticket, $80, kind of go back to the city on a speeding ticket if that's paid.
There are 5 accounts that the checks Brenda writes the city from court. Money she's collected goes into. We have court administration, which pays the jail fee. Jail, whenever we put prisoners in jail, that pays for their stays. Court automation pays for Brenda's court program on her computer. Lofty is their retirement, and PD equipment is self-explanatory. We take care of their cars and, if they have to buy uniforms or anything like that. And then general gets some, and whatever general gets goes towards their salaries. That's not on there, I'm just throwing that out there, that the money that comes to the city is split between 5 accounts.
So basically, half of the cost of a ticket is really kept in the city. By the first one, just about. Eight, I mean, 130.
110, it looks
Okay,
like.
110. Okay, yeah,
110 out of 200.
200.
Out of this first one, how much the city keeps? They keep the 10, the 20, and the 80, so that's $110 out of 205.
That's for the general fee though.
Yeah, but, that's for where we pay for, prisoners to stay in jail.
So every time we have a person in jail, we have to pay for it, so it's not,
Right.
I really wouldn't count it as income, because it's really already set aside for another expense, which we will have, because people are in jail.
Well, yes, and we're gonna have a pretty good jail bill this month.
Huh?
We're gonna have a pretty good jail bill this month. Probably some more after tomorrow. For court.
But if you don't do anything, you don't have anything coming in. Right, if you're not writing anything.
And speaking of anything, one of the things that, I discovered is that we have to do a calibration of our, equipment. And so if we write a ticket, that ticket would have been valid. And so that's one of the things that I
I think
assigned.
it's just the handheld, it's not.
Yeah,
Because once in the
Because
car,
they
they do
didn't-
them every
But
3
they didn't
months.
have the cars running, so they couldn't use, the cars were,
yeah, our part, we got
So
two
that's
cars
on
that was down, and we had to do
whatever, so
repairs
they-
too.
and the handheld did not get calibrated last time.
Yeah.
That the guy come through.
So that's
It
one of the
wasn't
things.
So we need to call the guy to come do
He
that?
comes by, that man goes
I know he comes every
all
3
kinds
months,
of
but
states, but, he
When
calls
you
us
call.
when he's coming around and he'll do Bradley.
But we
and
like to get him
Wilson.
sooner than later,
Yeah,
because we
yeah,
can't
yeah.
write
Yeah,
tickets.
well, he travels for quite a few states, and, I can't, if he's in Virginia, I can't ask
So
him
we
to
can
come back
call
down
him.
here for one, but we'll call him and ask him tomorrow when the next time the meeting is.
Do we have anybody local that could do that? So it has to be somebody.
It has to be.
Midwest radar, so
Yeah.
that's ours. And he comes around every 3 months.
I
So
don't
it's
know.
been
recertified.
Yeah.
It's been
not
since
every
chief,
month.
since we lost our chief, that we haven't had the calibration.
I don't know, that is kept, those, whatever he gives us certifications are kept in the chief's office. I don't have a key to it, so I can't tell you. You'd have to ask PJ to look and see when the last time they were done.
Well, I talked with PJ, and the last time, cause him and I had that conversation about tickets and some of those things, and we talked about equipment needs, because we was looking at ARPA funds and all of that. And so it's been, since the previous chief had left, I think it went out like a month or so right after that. And so having to wait on a company to come and calibrate that for us, that's
Well,
going to.
now that he has one car running, there's one that does.
Yeah,
have
now that
one.
we have the car running, cause we had, that car was down, and we got this other car that's in there, so we got one good running working car, well, actually 2 working cars, but then,
But
one is in the
the
shop.
car, the SUV has one, the car does not have one, it's never had one, that's why they
So
got
that was
the
a handheld
handheld.
PD, and that was the reason. Yeah.
that's what he's driving now, is the SUV, so
Yeah,
we're
we
good.
But the SUV was one that was down too.
You should be able to watch it.
I'm not going. We need to.
Any questions? Any other questions, I should say?
Speaking of the vehicle, if we,
I didn't hear you.
speaking of the vehicles,
She said, speaking of the vehicles.
Okay, speaking of the vehicle,
what is the, status of the donated car? Have you got the paperwork on that?
what's the time for that?
We have not. He told me when he emailed me and showed me a copy of the deed, is that what it's called? Title, that, he would be coming soon and he would bring it.
Thank you, Ms. Brenda.
So I'm expecting him anytime. He just pops in, you never know when he's coming.
All right, we'll move forward, with Ms. Phillips' report with ordinance and finance.
I don't have anything.
All right, fire department, Councilman Love. All right, thank you for all your reports. Thank you, Ms. Brenda, for coming and explaining that so very well for us. And so we want to go back to some old business. Want to give an update on the emergency roof repairs. There were, I think our last meeting that we had a leak over the police department. And then also, I think it was probably another day or a week or so. After that, we had a call from the county judge, Ms. Valerie Clark, saying that the library was also leaking and that it needed repairs as well. So, both of those repairs have been completed, and they were, completed within probably about a couple weeks or so after I got that call.
I have a question about the estimate, it
Yes.
says, for that. It says on here that they replaced the damaged, roof, but it said that it replaced felt and shingles on top of this roof.
Okay, yeah.
I thought it was a tin roof. On top of the.
On both of them?
No, on this one, we're talking about the estimate on the sheet from the police department. And it said it replaced 2 damaged drop ceiling tiles for the sum of $1,518.97 that was paid.
So which one was paid for which one? I think one was paid for, you had them?
I do have one, I'm trying to find where I stuck them right here.
One of them was paid for the, police department, and then one of them was paid for the,
Yeah, that's the police department.
This is the police department right here.
okay.
She's questioning that he said he replaced shingles when there's no shingles up there.
I don't know if it was, if he put, I don't know if he called it shingles, but I know it's a tin roof up there.
That's an awful high. Materials and labor for that, I would think. That was approved by you.
It was approved by me.
And also, the library. That job was done. I saw him down there on a Sunday, and he finished up on Monday, I believe. And that was paid $2,000.
Yeah.
For that repair.
Yeah.
I just was curious of why we didn't know about it until it was already done. You know,
You didn't know about what? That it was a roof damage or that it was paid?
Right, both.
The roof damage, we knew about that from the last showed us that. The other damage for the roof that was on the library, I didn't even know about that until Miss Valerie called me and told me. So when I got those two calls in, that's when I went ahead and got an estimate and got it repaired. So what is your question?
And the estimate from other people for doing the job? Usually we have more than.
We didn't have time for all of that. What I did was I tried to use who we already had. We've already used, I think it was Mr. Jones in the area, and he had already repaired it before, and it was leaking again. So I wanted to see who else could fix it, and so that's the person that I chose to go ahead and fix it and repair it.
Okay, well, who was this that fixed it?
We have it on there, I think the name is on it, don't you have the estimate?
His name is Samuel Miller, but
Okay.
there's not an address.
So what's your question?
I'm wondering who, if we have another leak, who do we go to? Who is backing this?
So you have that person's name there, and I have that person's number. So if we ever need that, if we ever need them again for doing the estimate, or we need somebody else, just like we have the folks that we've used before that I have cards and information from, that's who we'll go to. All right.
Were you able to get his license and bonding information?
I didn't ask for that because what I'm looking at is what our normal protocol is, and our normal protocol is not that.
Well, I had looked at four.
I'm sorry, what was
I
that?
had looked at 4 bills that Annette had, and 3 of them were, well, they had breakdowns on theirs, what was.
Well, the last bill that I looked at from the last person that repaired it, it was very similar to that bill. And so that's why I didn't ask for anything itemized or anything else, I just didn't know the cost. And I just got a roof repaired on my building, which was less than, what, the space was way smaller than that, and it cost me way more money than what he charged, so I thought it was pretty decent, price based on my commercial space and based on me repairing something that was much smaller. And still had to have somebody come back out and re-look at it because it was a flat roof. So, those were emergency repairs, we got them completed, it's rained since that time, and I haven't had any more leakage. So, that problem has been resolved.
But, you know, I think I had mentioned this to you before, that, when we get someone to clean the building, you want them to be licensed and bonded.
We haven't discussed, we really haven't talked about cleaning the building, the ladies have been doing it themselves right now. So, we haven't really put a bid out there for that. When we
But you
get to
had
that,
told us that you wanted someone, when Rose and her husband, finished here, you said that you wanted someone that was licensed and bonded.
I think when we cross that road and we decide that if we wanna move forward with that, we need to look at that. Because the current, we haven't had anybody to come in and provide those services.
Right.
So whatever process that we've used before, for instance, Councilman Satterwhite does the lawn care for the fire department. Whatever we require him to do, to be licensed to perform that service for the city, that's the same thing we would do moving forward with anybody. So what are those requirements? So when you mow grass, are you required to have anything else?
I did, I quit.
Okay, so you don't have to have a W-9 or okay, so you
It's
have
a
to,
1099.
so that means a W-9. Do you have to have any license or bonds? Okay. So we will continue to move forward with the way that it is, and if we do something different, then that means we have to apply it to everything and everybody.
That's what I was getting at, if you were wanting someone to do the cleaning. Anybody else that did work on the roof or whatever would need to be licensed and bonded.
So again, whatever we decide that we're going to do, we're gonna have to be consistent across the boards with present, with new, and with old. So those things, like I said, I keep telling you guys about equity. We keep talking about consistency.
Right. That's what I was getting at, I wanted us to be consistent.
So everything that has happened up to this point has been consistent with the practices that you currently have in place. So can we move forward?
Well, you had told me that you'd try to get that, list from him.
I wasn't gonna do that because I'm not going to do that because it's not consistent. It's extra work and I'm a busy person. And it doesn't mean anything other than satisfying whatever foolishness this is. I'm saying it's foolishness.
Spending $3,500.
It's not even spending $35,000. What you're questioning, is the roof leaking? Has the situation been taken care of? And are both facilities taken care of? Is it leaking? Because when we came in here this last meeting, it was leaking. Not leaking, it was pouring down rain inside that building. So that issue has been resolved.
Is he still available, if something happens with what he did?
I'm gonna go ahead and move forward with that, because I don't wanna keep beating a dead horse.
Well, I've noticed he's not at the church or at your house.
So number 2 talks about the establishment of non-voting advisory committee under Act 605. So, we move forward with that. Establishing that, did you get a chance to look and see that? That's about establishing the water, the committee for the water.
Oh, yes, was that the same question as earlier?
Yes.
Okay. Yes.
Just to let you know, I have the right to speak on whatever I want to.
We're gonna just move forward for the sake, we have other folks here, we got business that we need to handle. So we can talk about that at a separate time. I think that would be great.
Mayor, is there a specified time when anyone from the general public is allowed to ask questions?
It will be at the end, so.
Okay, thank you.
So while he's looking up that, we're gonna go ahead and go to 3. Got it? You got it? Okay, so we'll go ahead and look at 3. We need to open up, 3 accounts. Those 3 accounts is the housing advisory account, the Sam's Youth Job Readiness Apprenticeship and Mentorship Program, and also the Maya Angelou Memorial Trail Park. Those are all, grant funding that, I've applied for and that was accepted. And so I wanna go ahead and establish and open up those accounts. So I need someone to go ahead and make a motion to open up the accounts that we've already been awarded, grant funding for, either through, technical assistance. So the Housing Advisory Council is a technical assistant grant, which does a reimbursement. They do have workshops, seminars, they do have, I do have a person that I work with as a consultant that is looking at, rural housing and rural housing development and what opportunities or things that we can do here. So that is a technical assistant, grant that at times workshops and seminars come up and they reimburse us for those. The other one is the Sam's Youth Job Readiness Apprenticeship Program, what we've talked about, for the last couple of months. That program, we was awarded a little over $29,000, and so we would need to open up an account for that. And then also the Maya Angelou Memorial Trail Project, we were awarded, I believe it was $160,000 for that, and so we would need to open up an account for that as well. So could someone go ahead and make a motion that we open up those accounts?
We have the money, we have the check.
We have checks for the youth job readiness. I did get some checks in the mail Friday.
And we have board letters for all 3.
Is that Housing Advisory Council, is that the same as, the Rural Housing Development?
Yes, that's part of that, yes.
Okay, well, the last meeting, you said it was just a needs analysis to be done, that there was no money involved.
There's technical assistance, so whenever they provide us free technical assistance. Also with that particular program, they also may have workshops and seminars that come up, and so anything that we pay for them, they will reimburse. So for instance, I attended a housing advisory council meeting, or a workshop, I think it was in October, acquired expenses that I paid out of my pocket, and then submitted that for them for reimbursement. And so then they submitted that reimbursement, those dollars amount up to a certain dollar amount back to the city. And so like I said, it's a grant program, they provide technical assistance, but all of the workshops and seminars, they may have other grants that supplies that. And so like I said, I was out of pocket over $2,000 to participate in some of those events. I paid for those out of pocket, they reimbursed me that back by sending that money to the city, and then the city cut me a check back reimbursing me. And so those are the accounts that we need to have in place so that we can continue to do business with those different funding sources.
Let me just ask this question about that one. Could they not continue to use the account? Could they put the other money in instead of opening up a separate account for that one?
We could do
That's
that.
an account that the state always, or money from the state always goes into that account. It's called local sales and use, and then I transfer it to whatever account it goes to.
And you can do that for all of those, or you can open up separate accounts.
If there's money involved, like the youth job readiness program where I have money, I want an account for it.
Okay.
It's easier to keep track of it and to, account for our expenditures and the revenues in the account if it has its own bank account.
So if that being said, it's really B and C that needs to have these
I think
accounts.
so. I think that's, yeah, I don't think the first one needs one. Now, that's my opinion. The other money came into that account, that is just a pass-through account, and I paid you out of that.
Yeah.
Now, if there's gonna be money with the other two, I do think we need accounts for them.
But do we not need to wait until we get a check from the other to open that other one up?
We already have a check for the job readiness, the Maya Angelou. I think we need to go ahead and move forward with it. I don't wanna wait till March and they send us something and then we don't have, and we can't do anything with it.
Do you have a check already from Maya?
I do not.
Okay.
We got award letters.
I have, money for the job readiness program for the youth.
I make a motion for the job readiness to open an account.
And who will be the signers on the account? Do you want the same three that are on everything else? Mayor, myself, and Joe Gwen? That needs to be in the motion.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry, yes.
Okay.
All right, there's a motion. Is there a second on the floor for the Stamps Job Readiness Program to open up an account with the same 3 signatures?
Second.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. All in favor by roll call.
Ms. Hobaugher?
Yes.
Ms. Phillips?
Yes.
Mr. Satterwhite? Ms. Dixon?
Yes.
Ms. Lowe?
Yes.
Okay. So we're gonna make a motion on the Maya Angelou, or you wanna wait till the dollars come in? Yes.
So how long does it typically take once you receive your award letter for the Maya Angelou, projects funds for you to come to the city?
It really just depends on the funder. So it could take 30 days, it could take 180 days. So it really just kind of depends on the funder when those things happen.
Okay.
And so the last call that I was on about a month ago, they really didn't talk about when they would do the disbursement.
Do we have the layout of that project?
We do. But of course, that initial project, like I've said it probably multiple times, but that initial project was like $500,000. We was awarded $160,000. So we're gonna have to work with engineers, the community, all of that to really figure out how we're gonna scale back. And we really haven't met to have those type of conversations yet. But those will be community forums. So there's certain things within that grant that requires community participation. And so it's not something we just say, this is what we wanna do, let's roll with it. It's saying, here's some proposed things that we would like to do, what are the needs of the community? And so just like in the past when we've had community hall meetings, those community hall meetings will be announced and people can participate. I highly encourage all council members to participate.
When they talked about the 160,000 that they're planning for, they did not tell you what part of the 500,000 that the 160 was, that you had to use it for?
No, they don't. You give them your proposal, and then they say, yes, we're gonna fund it at 100%, or we're gonna fund it at this dollar amount. The sweet thing about this is that once we figured out how we wanna phase it, how we're gonna scale back, and maybe say, okay, we're just gonna do this part, but when this funding comes up, and it comes up every year, when it comes back up, we can reapply for the other pieces of it. And so, what I would hope that it would have, what I had hoped is that it would be like one big lump sum, we get it all done over a year or so. But what I'm seeing is that it may take multiple applications and multiple grant rewards to get the 500,000.
In this grant, we don't have to pay up front, and they reimburse us.
Say that again now?
This grant, we don't have to pay up front, and then they reimburse us.
No, we would have, from the Zoom call that I was on, we have a person that we work with. And the person that we work with, we have to submit the plan, we have to submit what steps. We can't go and pay for something and ask them to reimburse us. We have to submit it to get approved. Once they get the approval, then we move forward. But we can't, this is not like the reimbursement program. We have to submit approvals as we go along with that whole process. And that's why it's gonna be so crucial that, we have like our community meeting. I mean, it's gonna have to be planned out very well. Or it's community input, and then submitting that information, to the funder, and then the funder looking at that, get back with us and saying, yes, we approve, we move forward, and then move in that direction. So is it okay if we go back to 2, or we can?
Yes.
Okay. So, what I'm hearing is that the Maya Angelou Memorial Trail Park, nobody wants to really make a motion on that. You wanna wait till you see what that looks like? I'm okay with that. Number 2, we wanna talk about the establishment of the non-voting advisory committee under Act 605.
All right, the short answer is, I believe under Act 605, the board gets to make these appointments. And I'll read the part of the statute that gives them that power. If a municipal provider services customers outside the municipal boundaries of the municipal provider, and the number of those customers outside the municipal boundaries and in unincorporated areas equals or exceeds 20% of the total customer base of the municipal provider, a non-voting advisory committee to the municipal provider board shall be created by the governing body of the municipality in which the municipal provider is located. The makeup and duties of an advisory committee created under subdivision C1, that's the one I just read, of this section shall be determined by the governing body of the municipality that creates the advisory committee. 2 non-resident customers from the area served outside the municipal boundaries and in unincorporated areas shall serve on the advisory committee. So, it does not give numbers, how many, except,
Say that part again about the two what?
So,
Right there, Ben.
yeah. So 2 non-resident customers from the area served outside the municipal boundaries shall serve on the advisory committee. So 2 residents of the county essentially would have to be appointed. in addition to other committee members.
So by non-resident, it means people that are not on city water?
Correct.
Okay.
Well, no,
No,
So-
okay.
Not in city limits.
correct.
Oh.
Two non-resident customers from the area served outside the municipal boundaries.
So they're not in the city limits, they're in the county, but
But
they
they're
still
on
receive
city
water.
These people
because
get
they have an
paid by the
interest.
word, I'm convinced, so they shove every word they can think of in these acts. So, yeah.
But it doesn't
Yes,
say
two-
how many
it-
total board members we have,
No.
just as
That's-
long as we have two.
That's, well,
We have
two
two from
non-resident.
two from outside of the city
Right.
limit. So usually it's an odd number. So usually it just needs to be an odd number for voting purposes. And so I think my question is, we just have to make a motion to establish the, non-voting, committee?
Yes.
Okay.
And, I mean, I don't know, I don't know the ins and outs of the water department, but in order to do that, 20% of, total revenue,
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Municipal provider services customers outside municipal boundaries, and the number of those customers is equal to or exceeds 20% of the total customer base of the municipal provider.
And that's why we have to set up the committee, is because of that.
Yes.
Yeah.
So if we could have a vote that establishes the non-voting, committee, and
And then we can leave it to the committee to decide on the number and.
well, the board has to appoint the committee. And the two resident committee members, I mean, I think we have to invite people to apply.
Yeah.
Or if somebody knows,
I think we got, do steps. So I think the first step is to establish the committee, or to establish that we can set up a committee, right?
Yeah.
And then once we do that, then, Councilman Satterwhite, and then, Jamie, and then members here can look and see if there's anybody who may be interested, and we can post it. And see if there's anybody who wanna be on that committee, and outline what the requirements are. Cause I'm not sure how often we have to meet, or any of that.
It's up to the committee. Actually, as far as per the code, the makeup and duties of an advisory committee shall be determined by the governing body of the municipality, which is law. So,
Would you email that to me?
the act,
What you were just reading?
So if we do a motion to establish this, do we have to also set up how many members, the number of members, or can we just establish it?
I would,
Do a working committee to work on this and then bring something back?
you could do it either way. If, there needs to be a 5-member committee including the two non-resident members, I think that's kind of your, as far as committees and voting, well, it's not voting, but, they would still, create opinions. 5 is kind of the minimum number.
Well, I was thinking I was just kind of like I count for each ward, so we got like 5 different wards, so that would be 5 people. And then we do 2 outside of the city, that'd be 7. So I think if we could have people represented from each ward, and then we could have 2 people from the county, to me, that would be an ideal representation of what we need, what we need to kind of have. And so I'm gonna recommend that we do probably 7, and then have someone from each ward be represented, and then 2 people from the county. And it still gives us an odd number. I don't know if anybody else has any thoughts on that. Anybody? If not, I'm just gonna recommend a motion to establish a non-voting advisory committee under the Act 605, with the number being 7 individuals on the, committee, with the makeup of 2 from the county and 1 from each ward.
We don't have 5 wards.
Well, I'm thinking 1 or 2, I'm thinking about the
There's
areas,
3 wards with
at
2
large.
councilmen in each ward.
Okay, so that's what I wanted to have it represented from the 3 wards with 5 people,
Okay, I got you.
so that it's all connected.
Was it gonna be 5 individuals? or
7. So anybody wanna make a motion on that? Cause we have to have a committee, so if y'all have something different on the number of people.
You just want
He said
one?
3 wards, we got 2 wards that have 2 people representing each one of those wards.
There's 2
So if you want 5
wards.
people instead of 7 people, that means 3 would have to come from here, and then 2 from the county, but I'm just thinking with y'all areas, y'all have, we replicate it.
I make a motion that we establish a non-voting advisory committee under Act 605 with 5 individuals, 1 out of each ward, the 3 wards, and 2 in county.
Okay, there is a motion, I have a second. All right, all in favor, let's do roll call.
Ms. Homewater,
Yes.
Ms. Phillips,
Yes.
Mr. Satterwhite, Ms. Dixon,
Yes.
Ms. Lowe.
All right, motion carries, thank you. The other thing we had was the update of the, water maps, did you bring those?
No, sorry, Mayor, county, I haven't heard from county since sometime in the last, sometime in late 2023. I drop by there every time I've got court and, haven't gotten an update since then. The last update I had was that they had, they were essentially working on it. There's nothing for the council to do after, well, until we get all that info back. That was probably in early 2023 when we voted on which maps to submit.
Yeah, and I thought, I went to I think it was the state website, and I remember seeing an updated one, but I wasn't sure if that was the one we had adapted.
Well, I mean, before we can do anything official, we have to get it back from the county clerk's office. Although we voted to give them, they have to, they send it to the state sends it back, and then we finalize it, which was my understanding. And they haven't sent anything back.
And have you talked with them, when was the last time you talked with them at the county?
Oh, gosh, probably October?
Yeah, if you could just follow up with them
Yeah, I will.
and get that, and if they don't have it, see if the state has it, because like we're getting into that season where we're getting ready to, we're voting now already, for early voting, and I don't, people need to be informed about wards and where they at and all of those things, and that's just to get it out there to the public.
I will, and to cut down on any confusion, certainly.
Yeah.
I will email my, contact from the Geological Survey, which is kind of coordinating all this, and have an update for the council,
March,
yes.
okay, I appreciate that. Just wanna do an update on the budget. We had a meeting, what was that, last? I can't remember. Was it last week?
Yes.
We a meeting, last week, with concerning ARPA funds. So, anybody from that meeting wanna report out what happened at that meeting? Ms. Phillips, do you wanna report out what happened at that meeting?
What we had kind of decided on, which the council will have to approve, was, to purchase the 2 water pumps, for the water department. And, the mosquito sprayer, we need a new mosquito sprayer. And then we're gonna do some upgrades to our camera technology.
So the total funding amount that we had left over from the ARPA funds was what, 200 and, anybody got that number on them right now?
224.
So the total amount of that was
224.
$224,374 is what we had, and then I believe 20, we said was technology, and then 25 was
Mosquito sprayer.
the mosquito sprayer, which we got quotes on that, and then 88,000 was for those 2 pumps for the water department.
With the pumps, we have to get bids.
What was that?
The pumps, we have to get bids,
I think that's what he said, yes.
and we have to put it in the,
So we gotta get, I think he said we gotta get a total of 3 bids, right?
right.
So, I know we got the one on the mosquito.
We didn't have to run mosquito because it was the one over the amount
Okay,
that was allowed.
so it's anything that was over what, 35?
I think so, yes.
Yes,
So anything over 35, we just gotta assure that we got, that we have at least 3 bids. So really that, right now, that applies with that, with the, pump. And then I think he had mentioned that if there's only like one provider that may be in that area, we just need to be able to explain that. So, but we need to at least look and see if there's other providers that will be able to, offer that service or that equipment. And then if it's not, we need to be able to explain that. And I believe that we had roughly a little over 90,000 that was left. And so we talked about how different ways that we could possibly utilize those funds. So we are gonna have another budget meeting roughly probably in May.
it's not budget meeting, it's just.
We're talking about the ARPA money, ARPA funds, so we're gonna be talking about money, so I just called it budget. But it's ARPA funds. Jamie, you had a question before I went on?
That quote on that mosquito spray, it's good for 30 days and it's gonna go up about, I think it was $8,000.
Say that again now?
That quote that I got you for the mosquito sprayer,
Mm-hmm.
it's after, 30 days, in March. That's when their rollover time's up and that mosquito spray will go up. I think he told me 18,700, I think.
Go up to 18,000. Is that March 1st or the end of March?
I think it says 30 days.
Okay.
On that same one, or are they upgrading something?
No, that's like,
It's the same one? Okay. All right.
It says on
I
there,
looked at an upgraded one, but they said we didn't need it.
Yeah, it says it's good through 3/23.
yeah. Is that be before our next meeting?
So we need to make a motion, we need to purchase that.
First, we need to make a motion, we need to approve that we're gonna do these are the 3 expenditures approved for the ARPA funds at this point. And then we can go ahead and approve spending, that, or we can wait.
So first we need to make a motion on, the use of the ARPA funds for the, 2 pumps for $88,000. The sprayer for, we can go up to $25,000. And then also the technology upgrades are up to $20,000. Anybody wanna make a motion for those?
We need to wait until we get the bids on the pumps, if we get any more bids, because they may be,
I think,
Well, if they're higher, we'll accept the lower.
yeah,
So this is as low as it'll go.
well,
You need to say up to that amount, but not over, without it coming back before the board. Is that right?
yeah. So each one of those, we can say up to that dollar amount.
I think there's a time limit on that water pump too, I'm not sure.
It's all that.
That's 60 days.
Okay.
But the water pump, we definitely need to try to get multiple.
Is there other people that can give bids on the water pump?
Yeah.
Yeah. We just gotta have a total of 3.
3.
Yeah, so we already got 1, so we just need 2 more.
you have to run in the paper 2 different weeks.
Yeah. So we gotta get,
We've got to do that.
all right, anyone who wanna go ahead and make a motion on those, categories up to the dollar amounts that I just mentioned?
I'm gonna make a motion for the first 2, the high service pumps and the fogger at this time.
Listen, we done had a whole meeting. We had a whole ARPA meeting the other day.
Yeah, I know, but there's some questions.
What are the questions that we didn't cover
I
in the
don't
ARPA
know
meeting?
that, I don't know that you can cover them, so.
So what are the questions?
About the website, exactly what you're wanting with the, tech.
So the
The question is, you said, et cetera, tech cameras, the server, the website. I just think we need to meet with the municipal league of what's allowed.
we just had the meeting with it, we just
Okay.
had people here with municipal league at that meeting.
Yes, okay. Who would be outside of the city that you're wanting to look in
Looking
on
for,
the cameras? You talked about someone, correct me if I'm wrong, wasn't it someone outside of the,
Which you had the bid on last time.
no, of monitoring?
Oh,
right now, we have no we have no security, our security systems are at risk because we are operating on Gmail. Those things, we cannot do any business with other state organizations because we're operating on Gmail, Hotmail, what's the other one that you have? Hotmail. All of those things are not secure. And so initially, as we spoke before in that meeting, when we had Mr. Click here, we also had Ms. Catherine here from the Municipal League that talked about cyber securities and having those things in place. We have equipment here in this building that is not working. We have supposed to be 4 cameras. We have 2 of them that actually work. And then we have blind spots in areas that are not covered when people have to actually drop off their funds. There's no cameras on that, let me just finish. There's no cameras on that area where people drop funds off at. There's no cameras on the front of the building where there's a highway of 82. So that camera system that camera system needs to cover all of those areas. So replacing what we already have that's not working. And those camera systems are there, and then it's streamed in on a computer. We also have, I said we have no web presence, we have no web presence whatsoever with the city to filter out information to the public, or for the public, if you want to even increase tourism, or you want to pay a bill or something online. There's no central place for people to come to for the city of Sam's. We need that presence in this day and age. We also have emails that are not secured and that have been breached prior to me coming into office, where the city couldn't do anything with. And also, the same issue that I had when I came in, where Mr. Click and myself couldn't even work together for like 4 months because of the email situation. And so, just not too long ago, and I believe the person from the Arkansas Municipal League talked about, is that there were some other cities that had a breach where Russia had came in and they had to pay for all of that back. We don't have none of those things in place. So if somebody breach our system and get a hold to our files and information from the water department or somewhere else, we don't have anything to say they couldn't do it. And so those are the security things that we talk about. So the technology that we've talked about and we've discussed are those things. And those are the things we talked about at that meeting. Those are the things we talked about previous. And so what other questions do you still have?
I know Miss Catherine said something about the municipal league had vendors.
Yes, she did.
Maybe we can check with them and see what they offer.
And I'm already connected to all of that. That's why I brought Miss Catherine to you. And I also brought in the information from the municipal league. So all of what you're saying is something that I brought to you, and I've already said that these are opportunities and these are things that we can look at. And I'm also on the webinars, which any and everybody is more than welcome to join me on those webinars that talk about cybersecurity. So you can be more informed too about what is all out there for us and how we can go about protecting ourselves. But this particular motion is not about picking a vendor. It's not about doing anything else other than appropriating those funds up to those dollar amounts that we already had a meeting about last week that we already approved. And so it's bringing before the whole council and saying, this is what came out of that meeting, this is what we agreed to, let's vote on having that up. And then just like with the water department and everything else, we still have to go get those vendors, and we still have to go through that whole vendor process for bids.
And Mayor, what was the max amount for the technology?
Up to $20,000. And the sprayer was up to $25,000. And Jamie has a bid for $12,000. $13,000 with taxes, $13,170. So we will probably be under that, but we'll see. And then,
And we could be on the other things once we get bids, but we'll need bids on the other
Yes.
things, yes.
and then the other one was the pumps, which up to $88,000. So if it's more than, if any of those go over that, we have to come back and have that conversation. And then when we get to the bidding process, which Mr. Click said he would help us do that piece, and making sure that we have those, I don't think they call them RFPs, but if we have that, when we get to the bidding part and put it out there, because it actually goes out on a state website. It don't even hit local unless we just link it into it. So it's actually a state website that it has to go on, and they have a process for that. So we have to go according to how the state set these things up, not us. And so the motion is for all three.
Judy, did you make a motion for two of them?
I did.
For two, you didn't make a motion for all three, did you?
For all three. So knowing that we will get bids from all three and the council altogether will decide, correct? Okay,
Council has to approve
the council has to approve the vendors, we'll get bids from everyone there. Okay.
Well, then I make a motion to,
Accept the three that we've chosen.
up to,
Up to the dollar
Up
amount.
to the dollar amount, yes.
There's been a motion to accept all three of the line items up to each dollar amount. Is there a motion, is there a second?
Second.
There's a second, all in favor, let's do roll call.
Ms. Hobart,
Yes.
Ms. Phillips, Mr. Satterwhite, what'd you say? Ms. Dixon,
Yes.
Ms. Lowe.
Yes.
Right,
Now if we want to, now that we've agreed to those three expenditures, if we want to go ahead and vote to do this one for the skid sprayer, we can do that tonight, or we can do it at the next council meeting, whatever y'all wanna do. We did say the other night that we need to go ahead and get started on all of this, so we would know by May or June what funds we have left that would need to be appropriated further.
does Jamie need to get any more quotes?
Not this one, because it's under the amount that he said we would have to have.
What's the name of the quotes?
Was it 25, 30?
I think we should be, I think we should err I think we should err on the side of getting three bids. And then and Jamie, if you could get them before this one is due, then we
I don't
can,
know another vendor, honestly. I can contact Lewis and see who they use if it's the
Yeah.
same person.
I wanna err on the side of having three bids and then,
We can do it next
Yeah, I'll
month.
go around tomorrow and see who everybody uses and try to get another thing
Yeah.
done.
We'll still have time to do it next month. Okay.
all right, new business that we have is looking at, I guess now, so, community events, we have a couple of them that's set up. So the first one, is a Stamps alumni, reunion, and we have, Ms. Veronica Gilbert that wants to speak. So we're gonna share Councilman Hobart's mic, just so that people can hear you. We have another one.
Yeah, it's down there on top of that thing, but I don't think it was good, the battery was good in it. She
We
can
might
just
just
hand her
share.
that one out of the clip.
You need me to talk in the mic?
Yeah, just so that the folks there can hear.
All right. Good evening.
You used to that. You used to
I don't typically use mine. My name is Veronica Gilbert, the acting president of the SHS Alumni Committee, and we're just wanting to seek the approval to utilize the Stamps Triangle for what we want to call a Taste of Stamps. What we would do, it would be inviting vendors to come out. It would be foods and crafts. We'll be looking at possibly having some games and stuff. It's for children as well as adults. But we will be contacting like food truck vendors, those individuals who do crafts to come out on a Saturday, April the 20th of this year. It's a Saturday. We like to start like at 12 o'clock. We would start setting up like at 11. And so that is what we would like approval from the council to see if we could utilize that date.
So is it just that one event for April 20th? Anybody have any questions? When you was talking about utilizing that area, you want us to block off that area?
Well, you know, if you think about the way the triangle is set up, the food trucks will probably set up around the businesses, you know, like in the parking areas or on the triangle. But yes, I don't think you foresee need to block it all. Committee, what you guys think? Do you think that we would need to block it off? I don't think we would need to block it off, because we want people to have access in there as well. But we would, it's just depending on, we're wanting it to be an annual thing, actually. And so we would like to invite as many, vendors in as possible to make it a big event. Our mindset was like Magnolia have the Blossom Festival. That's our mindset. We know our first one, we're not gonna slate ourselves. It may not be as big as that, but we just want it to bring something to Stamps, for everyone to take part in it.
So were you thinking about using electricity, or are you gonna use generators, or like what?
Well, we will check with the vendors to see if they have their own generators, but we will also possibly need some electric. That's what our pricing of our fees or donations will be set up as such. $25 for those that don't need electricity, and $50 for those that do.
And so those that do, how would you do the electricity?
That's what we need to know from the state, from Stamps Council. We need to know that.
Okay. But that's new to me, but I know that there is an electrical pole there, right?
I think there's one, Jamie, and there one pole, there's one electrical outlet on it.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think it's just one outlet.
Well,
Y'all used it.
yeah, I used last year, and it's 120 breaker and 20 amps, so people can use two, the outlet has a two output, but if they're using a cooker or anything, it just pulls so quick. And Louisville, they did on the Fireman's Festival, the breaker was kicking off like every 30 minutes, so that's the problem. So making sure that vendor can know,
Okay.
yeah, provide
That's good to know.
So Rita, is wanting to utilize the space downtown on the 20th. During that time, you don't necessarily need us to block off anything. And I think if the vendors are going to be there, then they just have their own generators. Yep, okay.
Now,
The 20th of April.
what businesses are open on Saturday? The drugstore, and what time does it close? At noon, so that shouldn't affect them.
I think that's one of the things when I talked with you, you said that most of the businesses will be closed during that time, so it was not really any activity there, so it'd be a good way to drive in traffic.
From 11 to 1?
Well, we'll start setting up around 11, but it'll be from 12 to like 6.
And the bank, is open on Thursday.
Oh, yeah. So you wouldn't need to block the drugstore or the bank until after
Right.
12.
And Ms. Gilbert, it is a free event if you just pay for the vendors.
Correct.
Any other questions? If there's no other question, I would like to see someone would do a motion to approve for the Stamps Alumni Reunion to be able to do their Taste of Stamps on April the 20th, 2024 as the first annual event.
I'll make a motion.
What's that?
Joe Quinn made the motion, who's second?
I say that.
Okay, Lakeisha.
All in favor? Roll call.
Ms. Hovater?
Yes.
Ms. Phillips?
Yes.
Mr. Satterwhite?
Yes.
Ms. Dixon?
Yes.
And Ms. Lowe?
Yes.
All right, thank you. We're
Thank
looking
you, guys.
forward to it.
All right, thank you.
All right, our next, person is Mr. N, who wants to talk with us about the fight back to SMA, the 5K, run/walk that will be happening in March.
So March 16th, we're gonna have 5K, start right in front of City Hall. Go in front of the Barker Bank, turn left, go to the railroad crossing, all the way to the gazebo. Right at the Maya Angelou sign, turn around, come back, and to the City Hall. That is 3.125 miles. That is 5K. And this is soliciting support for all the business. And the picture on the front is from the last year. We signed 111 people And the runner was 88 runner, 12 runner and walker. And, we raised over, is it over $13,000?
What does SMA stand for?
Spinal muscular atrophy. Everybody knows Joey Hampton?
Yes, right.
Okay, so Joey was graduating, so I'd like to support him, and we raised the money for, he's going to Fairfield, and actually he's doing very well. This is his second semester, but he already has 60 hours of college.
64.
So 64 hours of college in high school. Amazing kid, and this year we are running for the Living Hope Disability Ministry, which is, everybody know that Mary Joseph, she has Jermaine, wheelchair bound. So condition is exactly the same as Joy, but the Joy is a bubble. Jermaine cannot speak. But he does. He's used the computer.
So this year's money will go to.
Okay, so all the money raised is,
Living Hope.
goes to the Living Hope Disability Ministry for the 90%.
Okay,
And 10% go to the Cure SMA.
okay,
That is the spinal muscular atrophy. And they is sending a pencil, not a pencil, 100 pen and 100 bracelet and 100 fake tattoo. And race is start at 9 o'clock, but I like to start on feeding people 7:30 the breakfast. Last year, Shallow Baptist Church, they cooked at the city senior citizen center, and great breakfast was there, but that building cannot go in, so we are coming in here. So I'd like to ask the permission to use this building from about 7 o'clock and all the way to around 12 o'clock. And I learned there's a fundraiser at the SNS parking lot same day for the Lane Parkinson.
oh,
You hear that? Chicken fry?
SNS,
SNS parking lot.
okay,
Yeah. That'll be afternoon, just we finish, then go to over there.
will they be cooking here in this building, or will they bring the food ready cooked?
So this year, the breakfast is very light. Just
Okay.
donuts and bagel maybe.
Okay.
There's no cooking involved at
Okay.
all. And then, 9 o'clock, race starts. And the Rotary Club will, Farmville, they're cooking hamburger at the parking lot and feeding the community. And I'd like to, I'm trying working on the door prize, get the distribute the number and maybe meal from the Get and Go, Jimmy's, any restaurant here, and anybody come in here, because the runner and the families all together gathering. I'd like to have people gathering at the parking lot and all this area. I'm in charge of the popcorn, shaved ice, and cotton candy. Those 3 items be all morning serving. That will be free, but lace itself costs $25. And $25 to get the t-shirt and a completion medal. And the first prize of the male is $100. First prize of female, $100. And the group competition is also.
Let me find what it is.
On the second page of the group competition, that is 5 runners compete with the time. The first one on the all 5 runners compete, get $100 on the team. Last year we got Dr. Arrington, the Municipal Family Clinic $100.
And how much did you say y'all raised last year?
Raised over $13,000. Yeah, this all went to that. It was great because of the joy. Everybody knows joy.
Right.
And, it was good. This year, it's slowing, but people were waiting till, well, last year also, I can get all the numbers, and it's about same car coming up. And I need to tell that $25 go up to $30 in March 3rd. After the March 3rd, it will go up. It will go up. So I need a permission to use this building, and also I need to ask you some volunteers. Last year at the senior citizen building, we tried to keep up with the kids, but 88, half of them are kids running around, and I thought I checked everything. And people came in the next morning serving the breakfast. The bathroom, the girls' bathroom, they smeared all the mirror.
So did you say March the 20th?
March 16th is Saturday morning.
Okay, and will, this building be used to contain the children while y'all are up and running?
Not that.
Okay.
This building may be serving the breakfast.
Okay.
But and also
And for the
the
bathrooms?
restroom, yes.
Okay.
Any questions, for him? And last year, we didn't charge for the usage of the, senior citizen
The building.
building.
was-
And
yeah,
so
it was
you're asking
free.
also that we're not charging for
This
this building as well. All right, any questions for Mr. N? There's no questions, anyone wanna make a motion that, that they have the March, I think it's Saturday, March the 16th, the Fight Back SMA 5K run and walk to start and end here at the City Hall building. There is a motion, is there a second? All in favor by roll call.
Ms. Homewater?
Yes.
Ms. Phillips?
Yes.
Mr. Satterwhite?
Yes.
Ms. Gibson?
Yes.
And Ms. Lowe?
Yes.
Okay,
Thank you.
you're welcome, thank you so much. At this time, we need to go into an executive session.
Do we wanna do these two resolutions first, or we
Yeah,
wanna wait till
no,
after?
let's go ahead and do those resolutions.
These were not put in your packet, I didn't have them at the time, but I put them at your place.
In the handbook, like,
Okay. So, Jake, I gave you resolution 2024, 22, I can't say it right.
Yes.
Okay. We need a motion to read it.
make a motion to read resolution 2024-2.
There's a motion. There's a second, all in favor by, roll call.
Ms. O'Water?
Yes.
Ms. Phillips? Mr. Satterwhite? Ms. Gibson?
Yes.
Ms. Lowe?
Resolution authorizing the mayor to execute a warranty deed in furtherance of the previous resolution to convey 202 Main Street in Stamps, Arkansas for other purposes. Whereas the city may sell any municipal road property when authorized by majority vote of the council, and whereas the city council passed an ordinance in 2022 to sell 202 Main Street in Stamps, Arkansas for $500 to Stacy Mitchell Correa. And whereas the city of Stamps in furtherance of said ordinance now desires to convey 202 Main Street via warranty deed to Stacy Mitchell Correa. Now, okay. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of Stamps, Arkansas, Section 1, that the mayor of the city of Stamps is authorized to sign a warranty deed to the property at 202 Main Street, Stamps, Arkansas, to Stacy Mitchell Gurria.
Boy, not a, she told me it was like joy,
Joy,
but with
boy.
a G.
Oh, well,
Boy.
there you go.
So we need a motion to go ahead and adopt that, what is it, resolution?
2024 dash
24-2.
So moved.
There's a motion and a second, all in favor, by roll call.
Ms. Hobart?
Yes.
Ms. Phillips?
Yes.
Mr. Satterwhite? Ms. Dixon?
Yes.
And Ms. Lowe?
Yes.
I have something to add to that for our attorney to ask for this. This is the second warranty deed. She lost the first one.
I have no clue what that little.
Well,
Yes, I
Right,
mean,
and that-
usually, everything I've ever dealt with was like replacement deed at the top or something like that.
well, I don't know if it was ever signed or,
Okay.
I mean, it wasn't recorded, so.
Cause I
No,
asked
it
Annette
wasn't
for,
recorded because it wasn't,
well, I asked Annette for a copy, and she didn't have a copy of anything else either, so,
I knew it wasn't recorded.
yeah.
Well, and that's why, just the nature, the person in 2022 that bought the land now happens to be the mayor, so, maybe a resolution wasn't
And
necessarily.
since there wasn't another deed, it doesn't have to say correction deed or whatever.
No.
Because this is actually the
Had
original.
it, yes, and had one been filed and there was something wrong with it, a correction deed would,
Okay.
we'd still go through the resolution and do another
Okay.
corrected deed.
Thank you.
So there was a motion, there was a second. and then
We
had-
voted on it, okay.
That's included.
Yeah, it was approved.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Now we need to do this one.
And so now we need to have the reading of the adoption resolution, which was resolution number 2024-3.
For the hazard mitigation program. Need a motion to read it.
I make a motion we approve resolution number 2024-3.
There's been a motion to read, is there a second? All in favor by vote?
Ms. Hobart?
Yes.
Ms. Phillips? Mr. Satterwhite? Ms. Dixon?
Yes.
And Ms. Lowe?
Yes.
The following resolution was adopted by City of Stamps on February 26, 2024. Resolution number 2024-3, resolution of intent to participate in natural hazard mitigation and to work toward becoming a safer community. Whereas the City of Stamps recognizes that no community is immune to natural hazards, whether it be tornadoes, severe thunderstorm, flood, severe winter weather, drought, heat wave, earthquake, dam failure, or wildfire, and recognizes the importance of enhancing its ability to withstand natural hazards, as well as the importance of reducing the human suffering, property damage, interruption of public services, and economic losses caused by those hazards. And whereas the City of Stamps may have previously pursued measures such as building codes, fire codes, floodplain management regulations, zoning ordinances, and stormwater management regulations to minimize the impact of natural hazards, and whereas the Federal Emergency Management Agency and the Arkansas Department of Emergency Management Agency have developed a natural hazard mitigation program that assists communities in their efforts to become disaster-resistant communities that focus not just on disaster relief, but also on recovery and reconstruction that brings the community to at least pre-disaster conditions in an accelerated, orderly, and pre-planned manner. And whereas the participating in the natural hazards mitigation program, the City of Stamps will be eligible to apply for post-disaster mitigation funds. And whereas the City of Stamps will implement pertinent precepts of the mitigation plan in cooperation with the community partners and by incorporation of relevant information into other community plans and mechanisms where appropriate. And whereas the City of Stamps will participate in the evaluation and review of the plan after a disaster, as well as complete a mandated 5-year update submitted to the State Emergency Management Agency and Federal Emergency Management Agency for review and approval. And whereas the city of Stamps acknowledges that participation in the plan is voluntary, not mandatory, and can withdraw and not be eligible for state grant funds at any time or upon update of the plan at least every 5 years as required. And now, therefore, be it resolved by the governing body of the city of Stamps as follows. The city of Stamps hereby approves the Lafayette County multi-jurisdictional natural hazard mitigation plan attached here to for the purpose of building a safer community by reducing natural hazard vulnerability.
Okay, reading of that, motion, so we have a motion to accept, resolution 2024-3.
Make a motion to accept resolution 2024.
There's a motion and a second, all in favor, by roll call.
Ms. Homeowner,
Yes.
Ms. Phillips,
Yes.
Mr. Satterwhite,
Yes.
Ms. Dixon, and Ms. Lowe. And Joanne wanted to do this, update to the handbook before y'all go into it.
I don't know if anybody read it.
I sent it to you.
So we're looking at 510.
Yes, and it states that an expense policy should be developed and distributed to all employees, and we never did that. And so I, sent Annette an expense policy that I would like for us to adopt and give to the employees.
That was included in your packets, everybody.
Okay, can I have some time to do some more research on this one? Or we do some updates on some policies and stuff, to give me some more time to just kinda, look at this a little bit more closely, and then also to look and see what, other municipalities are doing as well. So, cause this is, new to me, so I would like to look at this and then have this, let me get some time to do a little bit more research for an update, and we put it on for the March meeting. And then in between that time, that'll give me some time to maybe talk with you if I have any questions or would like to do some suggestions on it. Councilman Phillips?
Okay.
Okay. So, you guys, I just wanna get some time to give you guys some time to look at it and have some more input as well. I appreciate that, thank you.
Nope, I think they're ready to do executive session.
I had one more thing, I'd like to discuss is, since our budget is so tight, I would like for us to lower the mayor's spending limit to $1,000 without council approval. And I really think we need to do a resolution because we can't ever figure out when we were doing the 2,000, we have no idea how long that's been. And, if we have it as a resolution, it will be easier for Annette to find, instead of looking through years and years of minutes.
So you said you wanted to do it now? Decrease what, from whatever we decide on the budget meeting, at the previous budget meeting, you want to now make a resolution to decrease the amount for professional development and expenses from 2,000 to what?
1,000. Because our budget is so tight, that, I feel that we need to lower that. And I would like for Jack to have us a resolution for the next meeting.
And, I mean, I guess that's the other thing too, because we just went through this budget meeting with all this stuff, with these numbers. And we kind of had a
We never
whole,
talked about that at the budget meeting, we never talked about the,
we talked about it at the actual budget meeting that we had, back in, what was that, January? When we created when we created a budget, and we had multiple budget meetings, and we went through that whole budget.
That had nothing to do with this year's limit of spending,
My what?
your limit of spending, your spending limit.
She's trying to lower this, your
For what
2000.
reason?
Because our budget was so tight,
That has
that we
nothing to
need
do
to
with the
watch
budget.
everything. Yes, it has a lot to do with the budget. Has everything to do with the budget.
And what? No, we gone.
I would make a motion that we lower the mayor's, spending authority to $1,000 without council's approval. Anything over 1,000 has to have council approval.
Second.
There's been a motion and a second, all in favor? Let's go by our roll call, please.
Ms. Homewater,
Yes.
Ms. Phillips,
Yes.
Mr. Satterwhite,
Yes.
Ms. Dixon,
Yes.
Mrs. Lowe.
And I'm gonna also say that I wanna veto that, and so we can bring that back up next month.
All right, so, we're gonna revisit it next month. And just in case it passes, Jake, do you wanna try to bring us a resolution?
Well, it'd have to be an ordinance, just because it's
Well, that means to retract, yeah.
permanent.
We have a book with all the ordinances in it.
Semi-permanent.
Okay.
All right, can we go ahead and, I wanna make a motion to go into executive session?
I have one more thing.
Sure.
I've been sitting here and thinking, and I just like to say that I don't think that it was very professional a while ago when you was interrupting Councilman Phillips. And I just needed to say that and get it
All right,
out
thank
there, that that wasn't very professional to interrupt like that.
Well, and I would just say, in the future, if you have, like, I got an open door policy. If you have things like this, or things that you want to add to the agenda, we're all in a group message. And so when I put things out and say, would you like to add anything to the budget meeting? Because you did say you wanted to add the roof and all of those things to the budget meeting. So if you want to have anything that you want to add to the agenda, let's talk about that prior to putting it on the agenda. And then if there's some other questions that people have, let's have those conversations. And don't wait until you get into some open forum and when we could have had a conversation before. So having said that, I thank you for sharing that. And if I did cut you off, probably could, and if it was rude to you, I do apologize, for that. However, I'm just kind of sick and tired of the going over things when we've done a due process and had conversations and did those things, and then to come up and to keep revisiting things over again or doubling back. We just need to keep moving forward. Because this train is moving, whether we are on it or not. So having said that, I do want to go into executive session. When we come back from executive session, if there's anybody who wants to have a 2-minute open forum, we can do that. But at this time, I would like someone to make a motion to go into executive session.
I make a motion to go into executive session.
All in favor?
You need a second?
Oh, yeah, second?
Second.
All in favor?
Vote.
Roll call, yes.
Ms. Homewater,
Yes.
Ms. Phillips,